common missteps you see made, and then some general positive advice behind that.
Yeah. A common mistake is, and it happens all of the time, right? People not being prepared, that didn't do their research, right? Starting with the job description itself. So there's two or three things, right? Number one, read the job description and then translate what the job or the company is asking for into what you've done. You got to make that match, and I can talk about that in just 1 second. Number two, you've got to do some research on the company, because one of the questions you're going to get is, why do you want to work here? Right?
Exactly.
I'm apparently preaching to the choir here, right?
I'm sorry, I'm just, yeah.
And then if you want to get some extra credit points, do some research on the person that you're talking to. Oh, I see you're a Green Bay Packer fan. Hey, how about that Brett Favre, right? I mean, it doesn't hurt. It only helps, because we're looking for some sort of connection. As a human being, we want to connect with you. We really, really, really do. And those three things demonstrate that you have the capacity and the fortitude to think through a situation and act on your feet, right? The advice would be, in addition to doing those research on those three things, is use recognize the necessity to be able to answer behavioral-based interview questions. So
give us some examples. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So let's say that in the job description, it says something about overcoming obstacles. Right, you have to figure out how to overcome obstacles to meet the customer's demands. You should be ready for a question that says, give me an example of a time that you overcame an obstacle. And then it's SBI, situation, behavior, and impact. What was the situation? What was the behavior that you demonstrated? And what was the impact of that behavior?
Ooh, that's good stuff.
Right? There was a time, and you got to be specific. If you talk philosophical, like, well, this is what I would do, game over. I don't want to hear what you would do. I want to hear what you did do, because the likelihood that you do something similar it increases. And even if you did it wrong or made a mistake, that's beautiful, because that means you learned from it and you recognized it and you're stronger because of that mistake. So doing it wrong the first time is perfectly acceptable. Don't make stuff up. Don't beat around the bush, and don't over talk your interviewer.
Right. That's really good advice, Pat. Really good. You know, those three things you mentioned up front: studying the job description, studying the company, and studying the person you're going to be interviewing for. Like, I don't know how many guests have been on the Riderflex show and we've covered this topic, and how many daily tips I give. And every single day we interview candidates and they just don't do it. I'm just blown away by it. I just, sometimes I hang up the phone, I'll go in the living room at the end of the day and my wife's like, what's wrong with you? And I'll just shake my head and go, I just don't get it. I don't, you know, and so, by the way, sometimes these are seasoned professionals.
Yeah. It's not just out of school college kid and a seasoned professional. They interview the same way. Like,
they do.
Hey,
right?
I'm here.
I'm here.
Love me.
The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.